Okay, I said I'd do a short and brief but quick little video on Yugoslavia and what happens to them and the role that they play in the Eastern Bloc and in the events of the after the war. So, Yugoslavia had been expelled from Cominform by Stalin in 1948. So this is the time when most countries are joining Cominform or turning to communism, and actually Stalin is pushing Yugoslavia away. Now, there are a couple of main reasons for this. The first and kind of the strongest, most important reason is that in 1945, Yugoslavia had had a communist revolution where they had replaced their king, Peter II, with a communist government led by a man called Tito. And here he is. So they had their own revolution. They didn't have any interference from the Soviet Union. They didn't need their help. They had their own revolution and they fought off the Germans on their own. They initially sided with the Eastern Bloc, but in 1948, the Tito-Stalin split occurred, and it led to Yugoslavia remaining neutral and not a part of the Warsaw Pact. Tito didn't agree with Stalin's lack of assistance to the communists fighting for power in Greece. So remember all the way back to when we spoke about why the Marshall Plan happened and why the Truman Doctrine happened. And I said there were two cases, Greece and Turkey, and that Greece was having a civil war, and that Britain had been funding the royalists in Greece for a while. And then America took over, and they actually ended up giving them $400 million in the Greece and Turkey aid plan. But anyway, Stalin doesn't support the communists in Greece, and Tito is very, very critical about this. Stalin orders him, asks him to kind of tone down these criticisms, but Tito refuses. And it becomes clear that Tito isn't going to kind of toe the Soviet line. You know, he's his own revolutionary. He's had his own revolution. He doesn't need Stalin. And he's not prepared to kind of give in to him and view him as his leader or his boss in the way that other Soviet country or other Eastern Bloc countries do. So when he refuses to tone down these criticisms, Stalin orders Yugoslavia should be expelled from Cominform. So from this point on, Yugoslavia was communist but distinctly independent, and it had its own pathway to domestic and foreign policy. And they actually even accepted Marshall aid. So Yugoslavia is here, and as you can see, if my finger comes up, there you go, just about. As you can see, it's in a kind of a yellowy colour, which means that it's not aligned to either NATO or to the Warsaw Pact. And all those other countries around it are obviously part of the Warsaw Pact. So we can call it the only communist country in the Eastern Bloc that is not a part of the Eastern Bloc or the Warsaw Pact.